I will open it up. Episode 3
Episode 3.
of Looking Up podcast with Nick and Chris. Thank you to 88s and Dan for allowing us to reshoot here again for the third episode and continue to keep this podcast rolling. Our guest today, Mr. Tanner, Tipsy Pickle owner, co-owner, and creator. It's such a cool space. I love getting tipsy and pickling it up, so it actually works really well in my favor, selfishly. But welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
This is going to be a fun one. I know a lot off camera from your background, how you started into the whole business realm, entrepreneurial realm, but I'd love to share that of how you started, where you got into your first experience of business and the foot in the door, and then from there, getting to Tipsy Pickle, just even coming up with the idea, let alone finally getting the doors open, and then where we're at today. So, first steps.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Tipsy Pickle was a drunk idea, so we can start there and then we can work backwards. So I was lucky enough to play basketball in college and then ended up playing overseas. So I played professionally in Ireland for a year, which was a blast, the coolest experience ever. The club actually paid for my master's degree while I was there, so I got to do that. Just one-of-a-kind experience.
What position were you?
Recommend to anybody. Shooting guard. Little shooting point guard combo, as you can tell by the 6-foot white guy kind of persona. And so I moved to Charlotte on a whim. I didn't know anybody here. Found out that I had one buddy that lived here, and so it worked out really well. Was in sales, just kind of your typical sales role, and then kind of got into the tech space a little bit just through meeting some people, networking, ended up building and scaling a company on the tech side while I had a day job, kind of like nights and weekends. Got really lucky. I mean, again, I think luck played a huge part in everything. So I was able to sell that company, which kind of freed me up. I was a part of another exit with another tech company. So kind of went down the weeds of the tech space and really enjoyed it. Met some great people, found some success. Again, I credit it more to luck than to anything. I think I was in the right rooms at the right time and brought the right energy and the right skill set. But I think it was really lucky for some of the things that happened in my life in Charlotte. And when I exited one of the companies, I had met Mike, a buddy of mine, and he bought me a bottle of bourbon as a congratulations. Apparently it's tacky. I didn't know it was tacky at the time, but I walked the bottle to his house to drink it with him. Thought that was a nice gesture. We lived in the same neighborhood, drank the bottle on his back deck. Literally finished everything but like 2 or 3 gulps, which we actually saved for our grand opening night, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
Drank the whole bottle while his wife was at book club, and when she got home, there was papers everywhere. We had like the full business plan. We had gone through a couple different business plans. I had just gotten introduced to pickleball at the time, and so he had kind of seen it, didn't know much about it, but he had kind of the brewery background. He owns Protagonist Brewing, so he had some of the F&B side. I had kind of the other piece of it. And yeah, we woke up very hungover and said that was actually a pretty good idea. We came up with the name that night. So we had a long list of names. That was at the top of it. And yeah, a year and a half later, Tipsy Pickle opened its doors.
Okay, so wait. Drunk night. You're talking about pickleball, I gotta assume, and then you're like,
So,
you know what we should do? Let's open a pickleball place.
When I had walked over, we had previously talked about, now that I had left a few companies and had experienced some success, we didn't know what I was going to do next. And so he was asking, he was kind of prying there. And we had said that we wanted to do something together. And so it was one of those nights where you're going to drink this bottle and you're going to come up with as many ideas as you can. And we had some really, really bad ideas and some really, really good ones, because I think they're good. And Tipsy Pickle was just the one that we all thought made the most sense. So by the time his wife got home, we were there till like 2 a.m. and we had a few like lucky relationships that made us feel like this was doable. Like we could really make this happen. And so when we woke up the next morning, we called a commercial real estate agent who we had a relationship with. And it turns out, so for pickleball wise, you need very specific dimensions of a building, right? You need 20-foot ceilings to be able to play, which is pretty rare for most places. And then you need 30 by 60 between pillars. And so when we started looking around, there was only 2 existing buildings in Charlotte that could fit more than 2 indoor courts. So it kind of narrowed our scope pretty quickly. So we actually went under LOI with both of them to figure out, we were going to do 2 locations in Charlotte. We ended up only doing 1, but the process kind of it snowballed very quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in take action. That's
Yeah.
kind of one thing that I think is a superpower that a lot of people lack.
Yeah, for sure. I've had so many drunk nights where me and friends come up with ideas, and Emma comes home and she's like, "What did you guys do?" We'll wake up the next morning, we're like, "What was that?"
Yeah.
So good on you for actually making that happen.
Yeah, I
Sweet.
think that also in the business realm, everyone comes up with ideas.
Yeah,
Few people will truly act
act
on
on them. Yeah,
And it could even be not even in the business realm. If you're just in any sort of work, the person who acts on ideas or just gets stuff done and doesn't delay tasks, whether they're projects, anything, that person gets way further ahead.
100%.
100%.
I feel like most of my background as a trainer was just showing up, being consistent, and doing a lot more than everyone else. And that made me more successful. That gave me a lot more confidence of I could probably do something more than just be a personal trainer. And then the other side, which I think is unique, and I want to hear a little bit more about this, is the connections. The people you meet can really put you in positions for so much bigger than you would ever even imagine. They bring in new ideas. They bring in people that, again, that could be the jump start, a fire starter to something. How'd you know Mike was the right partner?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because I think the two most important things when you're talking about entrepreneurship and whatnot are the project you chase and then who you chase it with, right? Like those are the two most important things. And so Mike and I had known each other for a while. The company that I sold was an app in the hospitality space. So I got to know him through that, and I learned pretty quickly. I didn't know much about beer or breweries or anything. There's like a subset of people that are home brewers that care about the craft of brewing, and that's why they open a brewery. And then there's the subset of people that, like Mike, that have a finance background, that are a little bit more business oriented, that open it for different reasons, and they still have the passion, but they have a little bit more of an expertise. And so I was lucky enough to kind of pick his brain on some things when I was going through my scaling of my company. And so we just kind of hit it off. We saw different things in each other that we thought balance out well. And I think it has. We have a really good partnership. We both speak very directly, which I think is helpful. Like, I don't know how you do it with your significant other. I have so much respect for that. Because just crossing those boundaries and barriers and setting them is a skill in itself. Like, Mike actually married my wife and I. He was the one that married us.
That's awesome.
And we always talk about, like, he is kind of like, we have our own marriage type of relationship, right, on the business side. And so the fact that you do both is very impressive.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate that Allie is not only my wife, so life partner, but business partner, and how savvy she is. She was very successful as a trainer. She knows a lot within multiple spaces too, not just personal training, which made it a lot more helpful as well. And she thinks very differently than I do. So
It's valuable.
yeah, and I don't know if you and Mike are similar in that aspect or
Very
different.
different,
Yeah, I think it's so powerful having a business partner that has skill sets that are different than yours. There's some similarities. She's also very direct in speaking, and she's very good on camera. So if there's a social media side, she can do it or I can do it. I am definitely more the idea person. I come up with a lot of not only event ideas, creative ideas. We collab a lot on ideas too. And she is definitely more of the social media follow through. She's the execution person when it comes to at least the day-to-day on the social media or monthly social media. So everything's posted at the right time. She knows the look. She has that vision. She's more creative on that. And there's so many other things. So we're fortunate on that. And, you know, we did a podcast previously. Our last episode was us, and we talked about how we do bring a lot home. And I think it's so exciting for us because it's so new. We're young into this, year and a half in the business, and it really does invigorate both of us. So it doesn't feel like too much or work, or we shouldn't talk about it in our personal, because there is a lot of intertwining. Plus, we both enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's very helpful.
It's huge.
But I don't know if I would recommend to everyone to get into the business with their partner, because I don't know, one, their relationship, their communication, and then skill sets. Do they complement each other? Are they clashing with each other? And what happens after that? Because there could be a huge fallout. And I'm sure you have examples. You might have examples, and I don't know. I might know one or two examples where it was just such a fallout that there was a whole divorce and everything. And fingers crossed that doesn't happen to us. But
No, you guys are great.
I think you guys just have great communication. Like, I think that working with someone who is complete opposites of you is a superpower because you guys bring different skills to the table. And if you can have good communication and bring those skills together, then you can do anything, right? It's like why, like my buddy that I do all my photo video with Cody, right? It's like I'm very creative in the editing side and like the ideas in my head, and he's very technical, right? So it's like when we come together, it's like he can make things look amazing, and I can carry out the creative ideas and make it look really good in post. And like some of my best work has been done because we have two opposites who come together and communicate really well and make really cool stuff, right? So I think that's like with any venture is like having a good team, like working with someone who is not similar or like has different viewpoints is huge.
Yeah, communication, like you mentioned, communication's key. I think y'all talked about this on the last episode too. Of you kind of have silos of the business that you say, okay, this is the stakeholder. You're gonna be the stakeholder for this, and then I can have input and we can have conversations about it, but you're going to be the one that's driving this forward, and we can do it together, but this is ultimately something that you're going to focus on, right?
Right.
And that's, Mike and I have the same conversations. And whenever you start a business and whenever you're in scale mode, you're going to have those, because as someone that like founded the company, you want to be involved in everything. And like, how do you work on the business, not in the business? And it's very hard. And Mike and I have conversations and with our management team all the time about how do we delegate appropriately while still being in touch with everything, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're the stakeholder of a certain segment of the business, like social media, for example, like, yes, you can have people that help you create different marketing content and things, but like you are the ultimate stakeholder, and you as someone that maybe isn't the stakeholder for that still want to know what's going on. You still need to be involved, have your input, because at the end of the day, it's your business. Like your fingerprint is going to be on it, whether you like it or not. So that's just, it all comes down to communication.
100%.
How did you guys decide, you and Mike, who did what? I know obviously you have different skill sets.
Yeah.
But like, what did that conversation look like? Who does what, and how do you describe that to the team?
Yeah, it honestly, we probably didn't do the best job at first of explaining it to the team, because I think to he and I, it came very naturally of who was going to kind of focus on what. And with a company that big, like we have 80 to 90 employees.
Oh, wow.
You kind of have to be involved in everything, because there's just so much that's needed from an availability standpoint, that having two kind of heads to choke, if you will, like it kind of works well for that scale. Just because one of us will almost always be there or be reachable kind of thing. And we're pretty in sync in how we handle situations. So like, yeah, we concur with each other and like, hey, are you good if we do this, or let's talk about this before we make the decision. But when things need to be made kind of like in a snap decision, like we're pretty in sync and we trust each other enough. But it all comes down to like over communication and trust. Like you're always going to have hiccups in situations where you disagree, but it's kind of about, I think it's more about how you handle those than it is about avoiding them.
Yeah.
Like I swear that confrontation is like a skill, and it's a learned skill. And we were talking the other day, it's like, if you put off a hard conversation, I was talking to my wife about this, that's going to carry interest. Like it's the same way how debt works, like financially. Like if you are putting something off, there's a mental interest that you're paying on that. Like if you know that you need to have this conversation, you're going to be thinking about it for the entire week that you didn't have that conversation. So Mike and I are just very open communication. That's how we operate with our management team as well. Before we hired any of them, they'll tell you, we said, hey, just so you know, we communicate very directly. It's because we care about you and we care about the business. You wouldn't be in this position as a manager of our business if we didn't feel that way. Just know that it comes from a place of love and affection, not a place of I'm very upset with you. That's just kind of how we approach situations to try and act fast. Like we want things to move quickly and get solved quickly. And that takes a level of direct communication that I think is not the norm in the restaurant and hospitality industry. Maybe a little bit more so in the gym industry, but again, you're playing with people's emotions, and you kind of have to delicately walk around those.
I feel that goes hand in hand with doing tasks or anything, the speed in which you do it, obviously more successful for those types of people. Conversations that are difficult are another one, just a subset of something that you have to do.
Yeah.
And like you said, people put that off. There is a little interest that goes into like, if you put that off, you're going to feel it later. We hired a bunch of friends when we first started, and some of them don't work with us anymore. And fortunately, we have not had any relationships tear. But I've heard...
That's awesome. Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, I've heard so many stories of when that does, and sometimes things do go unspoken. So I try to be direct, but also, like you said, there's a delicate dance of making sure you're direct enough to make sure both parties are heard and felt seen, and there's obviously a standard without being offensive.
Yeah.
So that's a skill. Like you said, it's a big skill. But I want to go back to, you have LOI. You have that submitted to 2 different places.
Yeah.
When you went from that to accepting the official lease, or coming to an agreement, how long was that until the doors were open?
It ended up taking almost a year of construction. I mean, it's a big space. It's 25,000 square feet inside, 10,000 out. So you got a lot to build. Yeah, maybe a little bit less than a year. We opened in February of last year. And I mean, it's a long process because you kind of sitting on your hands, right? Like you're not grabbing a shovel and building the place. You're working with a general contractor who's much more skilled at that than you are. So it was a little bit of a helpless feeling. I mean, there's a few months there where you can't start hiring, you can't do marketing posts, you can't do X, Y, and Z because you're just kind of in the waiting game. So that was very frustrating. That was something, as someone who's like a take action first kind of guy, that was hard for me. But then we got to a point where you start to go through the inspections and you're getting to that and you're starting to put together a timeline of opening and a go-to-market plan for your announcements and things. Which I think y'all did a fantastic job of. And so that kind of starts to give you some meaning and you start to get excited and you start to hire and you start to bring the team, right? Because for a year and a half, it's just Mike and I, right? Like we're meeting on our back decks, we're going to coffee shops, and like in our heads, Tipsy Pickle is this big grand thing, but like nobody else really knew too much about it. And so that was kind of a weird feeling. And then you start to bring other people into it and you're trying to get them as excited as you are, which is, it's not possible, right? No one's ever going to be as excited as you are for your baby. But we've been lucky enough where we've got a handful of employees that have been with us from the start that they care. That's our biggest thing, is like, if you find people that care, like 1, take care of them. And then 2, like give them as much responsibility as you can, because if they care like you do, like those are the people that drive the business forward. So we've gotten really lucky.
When you guys found the location, there was nothing in that spot before you guys came in.
No,
right?
they had cleaned it out and it was ready for an office tenant to move in.
Okay.
So they were actually going to have an office tenant there with 4 food stalls in the front, and so there was a big demising wall that we had to take down. But yeah, it was just a shell.
Yeah.
The mezzanine already existed, which was nice. It did kind of handcuff us a little bit because it was the only place we could put the kitchen was below it. But yeah, it worked out pretty well.
See, I thought the mezzanine was like purposeful because the way you guys like designed it, it flows so well and it makes so much sense. It's like you have all the pickleball downstairs as well as the big bar and the big TVs. Kitchen off the back of the bar makes sense.
Yeah, and it's funny because I don't know if when we were designing it, if it wasn't there, if we would have thought to add it. But now that we have it, like to your point, it flows really well. In our next locations, we're adding mezzanines because of that.
And I don't know if you guys have been to Tipsy Pickle or not, but I've been a half a dozen times now, and I've yet to play pickleball. I've just been there and ate and played the golf simulator and played pool, and the food is incredible. Yeah. So I think that you guys did a really smart thing because there's other pickleball places popping up, but I don't want to go anywhere else.
Yeah, that was part of the when we did our branding exercises. It was we kind of kept going back to the same framework of we want to be the average Joes to the industry's Globo Gym. Yeah. So like that kind of fun, exciting brand where, like to your point, you don't need to come play pickleball. Like that's not what we're built for. It's more of a fun sports bar atmosphere, kid friendly. You've got golf simulators, you've got other stuff. Yeah. We wanted our food to be like a standout thing that people came for the food. Tier. So I love hearing that you're a fan.
And the outdoor space is sweet too. Like the way you guys did it off the sides, and you see it from the road.
Yeah, so that was important. Yeah, visibility in that part of town was important for us.
And I'm sure you guys have driven a lot of like business to Camp North End as well, being there.
I think it's been a good partnership. I think we've definitely helped bring traffic to somewhere that maybe is still in its early parts of development. Yeah, it's very early. So we're pretty bullish on the long-term vision of Camp North End. I think it's going to be a really cool development when it's done. But yeah, it's still early. They've got a lot of empty space that they're still trying to fill, which is exciting for us because we're having a really, really good time at the current moment, and we think that's going to get even more fun for the surrounding area as they fill things.
That whole side of Charlotte is booming. It's like there's so much area and so much land to build in. It's like when we were buying our house, it's like one of the areas we were looking. Yeah, was trying to find somewhere over in that area because we wanted to be there. So I think that you guys are in like the perfect location. The spot itself is sweet. So you guys crushed it.
We're next door neighbors, and I feel like there's so many residential apartments and townhomes and buildings going up. I keep seeing more and more stretching towards, when you go down Tryon, you effectively can take that to get to Camp North End. Yeah. And it's just stretching further and further in a good way, I think, because it's bringing more people, eventually brings more businesses, probably into the same project that building that you're in will bring more.
Yeah.
And you'll just see such an uptick. It's really cool. I feel like you have so many things that you can offer. We were just talking about, I haven't played pickleball. You haven't played pickleball. We rented it for, members and outings. We've done the golf simulator. I love playing darts there. You have a shovel. Like, how do you describe to someone everything that you offer? Because there's food, there's drinks, there's pickleball. Like, how would you describe it?
Yeah, we tried to make a place like that. I love that you said that. So that means a lot. Thank you for that. That it's somewhere for everybody, right? Like we have pickleball in itself is fun. It's great. And it appeals to a lot of demographics. So we kind of wanted to take that and just translate it to the whole thing. Like our facility should feel welcoming to everybody. And it's funny, I was talking to some guys that were there this morning. They were asking about the playlist of the music that's on. And the goal behind our playlist is that no matter how old you are, what kind of music you're into, if you're there for an hour, in that hour time frame, you hear one song that you really like, where you're like, oh, I love this song. And most of them are throwbacks, like they're all 90s and 2000s, because it's trying to bring back that nostalgic feel, right? We have a Yoo-Hoo espresso martini on our menu. Like, we're trying to kind of scratch that itch of somewhere that is very, very kind of laid back. I can go in whatever clothes that I finished my day in and just have a good time.
I like that you said nostalgic, because in my mind while you were talking, I was thinking it's like an adult playground.
We've talked about having like an adult field day,
Yeah.
or like a laser tag lock-in or something.
That'd be sweet.
Laser tag
would be
lock-in.
sweet.
If we want to find a way to make, I have 200
Like
people
a
plus that are
dodgeball
down to
night
go.
too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We have a lot of ideas. Our insurance company frowns upon a lot of them. But yeah, we're trying to do some fun stuff. I think we're gonna do a beer mile for Memorial Day, so stay on the lookout for that.
I'm definitely gonna. You do great events too. We actually brought our kids because you had a family event where there was a petting zoo, there was a bunch of these different vendors, and also setups of what I would call like carnival games kind of thing. You toss a football or baseball through this net, and our son, who's now 2.5, at the time it might have been 4 to 6 months ago, I forget when it was, loved it. And Logan was super young, so he wasn't crawling around or anything like that. But we went into the petting zoo. You really do hit to everyone. And I do like the idea of like the average Joes, you appeal to everyone. Your staff is so nice. I don't want to throw shade at any other companies, but there are some entertainment places. There are also places that do pickleball that don't have the same hospitality that your team has. And I'm not just saying this because you're here. I've told you this off camera. And that's why we shifted all of our events that are pickleball based or social based to Tipsy Pickle, because of the quality of staff that you have.
That means a lot. That's something we take a lot of pride in. And it's hard when you're in it. I'm sure you have the same things at Oro of like, you feel like you're not doing a good enough job on certain things that are important to you. And that's something that we always try to deliver at a really high level. So that means a lot. I'll let the staff know, because we stay on them about hospitality, because like you can feel if the person that is bringing your drink or taking your order is having a bad day. You can also feel when they're super welcoming and having a great day. And so we want to create that environment for our staff, because it really does. You can feel it as a customer.
Well, having a good like work culture is huge for like the customer experience, right? If, like you said, if the employees aren't happy to be there, it's gonna shine on to
it's hard. We've got
experience.
so many people. We got 80, 90 employees at any given week that it's hard to make sure everyone's having a great time. And so it really comes down to like just trying to create the ecosystem, if you will, because there's so many people coming in and out of that place that just lends itself to that. And that's something that we struggle with some weeks. We feel like we're doing really well some weeks. So it's at the top of our mind for sure.
Thank you.
Not that you got to give trade secrets, but what do you think is one or two things that really stand out that make it such a high hospitality, elevated place where not only the people that come in, patrons, but also members, or like your staff, like your team, feel that it is the best place to work?
So I think anytime that I go to give advice on something, it's usually because it's advice that I need to hear, which I think always ends up landing better. The reason that we are good in that sense, because I can give you a lot of reasons why we're not, but the reason that we're good is because of the management team, the leads team that we have in place, right? Like I mentioned, getting people that care, like that changes everything. Like if you have a GM, an AGM, a bar lead, a morning lead that like genuinely care the same way that you do or close to it, your staff can feel that, right? If somebody's just there punching in, punching out, and maybe they make people feel like they don't appreciate them. Like they know, people know. It all comes down to people and getting the right people in there and being present. Like Mike and I are very present. Like we're not absentee owners that just kind of open the place and then let it run without us. Like we care. We want people to be enjoying their experience. Like every once in a while we'll come and we'll just run food. We'll be food runners for the day and just kind of be a part of it, see what's going on. Because you see in the weeds like what's happening. Because you're making all these decisions and you don't always have the pertinent information if you're not in it.
Yeah.
So I think that's been helpful for us.
Yeah, I've seen you multiple times that I've been there sweating. I hate to call you, but in a good way, running food, and like you are very in it, and you'll see me, and I know you're busy, and you still make time to say hi, which I'm very grateful for. Thank you, because you don't have to. You can literally just wave, and I'd be happy with it. And it's interesting because for us it's separate, but with Mike and you both are very present. But we've talked about this a little bit before this podcast, that you don't want to feel like the face. You want Tipsy Pickle to be its own entity without it being a Tanner and Mike show. Whereas with Oro, I don't want to be the face, quote unquote, but because I'm so in it, I feel it's just a byproduct of. And Allie is a little bit more removed because she does a lot of back end stuff. Although she's very present, I'm just there from morning to evening, whereas she takes care of our kids as well as does online stuff and does stuff with the business. What made you decide you don't want to be the face? You want it to be on your own, which I do think is great advice, but I want to hear it from you so that anyone listening can also take this advice. Yeah,
and I think that's advice that applies differently to different people, right? Like to your point, like I think you and Allie have done it so tastefully in terms of like, it's not overbearing. You're not constantly on camera screaming and pushing yourself. Like you are there because you've built a community, right? And community is important. It's important for me from a staff standpoint. It's important for you from a staff standpoint, but also from a member standpoint. Like you probably know all your members by name, which is essentially your customer base, right? There's no world I can know my customer base by name. So I major kudos for how you guys have done it. I think it also, my personality, I would say, doesn't necessarily lend itself to it. Like I think I am default a pretty private person. My wife is, who I love dearly, is very much more outgoing and better at being that than I am. I prefer my privacy. I prefer to just not have my name kind of out there. I always joke with my director of marketing because there are times, and to her credit, she's probably right, that I should be the one in certain videos or on camera here and on camera there. And it's probably something that I could do a better job of, but when it comes down to it, it's just something that it's been instilled in me because I think I've been burned in the past of like, I don't want someone to not appreciate my business because they don't appreciate me. Like if you have an issue with me, that's fine. I try my best to be a good person, but there's always people that are not going to like you, whether they know you or not. And most of the time they don't even know you when they don't like you. And because I've had like very small amounts of success, there are certain people that maybe I've rubbed the wrong way over that time frame, that I don't want them to judge my business and my staff and the things that it stands for, wanting it to stand on its own because of me. And so there's definitely a happy medium. I probably don't do the best job of finding that happy medium. I can probably do a better job and learn some things from what y'all have built. But yeah, it's tough. It's also like what comes natural to you. Like I don't do a lot of podcasts. I really like you guys, so I would love to come and be a part of this podcast.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's more of a personality thing, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I originally don't like being on camera. You see this fly just going around?
Dude, I'm not gonna play out. I'm like a cat. I'm like this.
You gotta get this guy.
Eventually we'll get it. But I originally, before even moving to Charlotte, I did not do much on Instagram in general. My name was not Nick the Bald Guy before that. You know, it was just some random. And I knew that I had to market myself to pick up a clientele as a personal trainer and then get used to speaking, because I thought for myself in our business, it would be great to speak on it beforehand to build awareness, kind of what we were talking about. No one knows who you are in the concept stage, regardless of how big or small your facility is. Marketing's key. So that was my first thought of marketing. And then I started doing more speaking videos, giving the updates, and I thought I'm going to give it life of the authenticness of hearing someone building something. People kind of like that journey, it seemed like at the time, and maybe still. I see it on social media. Everyone's talking about the journey of the highs and lows, and I want to be super transparent. It's always been one of my core values, not only for the gym, but also myself. I'm very honest about things. I will give majority information. There's some things that you obviously got to keep to yourself.
100%.
But like you said, there is a personality type to it. Like if you prefer to be more private, sometimes it's hard to force that to be more in public. So I don't know if everyone needs to do that, which I think you have done a great job of still being present without being the face of Tipsy Pickle.
It's hard. It's a balance. And honestly, it probably comes from insecurities, to be honest. Like, that's probably where it stems from. But to talking about kind of what you guys built, like, honestly, and I'm sure there was some by design, but from the QC athletes, like, it was an absolute masterclass watching it from the outside of the launching of a brand, you knowing what the end goal is and building so many different things along the way. Very well done. It was fun to watch from the outside. Getting to kind of see it from a business entrepreneur marketing standpoint was very, very impressive.
Well, it's funny, the QC athletes, I keep saying this, and, who knows if people believe me or not. I started it because I just wanted to do speed and agility workouts with friends.
I believe you, 100%.
Yeah.
And it parlayed so well into the future vision of what
QCA just built such a strong community.
I always said, and I told Anna Kate, who leads it with me, that if we do this, one, I want it to be free. I don't want people to have to pay. I don't want them to think about it. Like, it's once a month. We don't have to do too much either, so it's not such a stress and headache. But effectively, it's just so that I can finally do the speed and agility workouts that I keep saying I want to do. I wasn't doing them in Chicago. Now that we moved to Charlotte, I was like, I don't have any friends here. It's just my wife and I. We got to meet people somehow, and fitness has been one of the best ways that we have. Plus, I want to do this, so why don't I just spearhead it because no one else is doing it? Yeah. And she was willing to join. She's been a great partner to it. Yeah. She's very organized, very good at being time management wise, but also with the events and not only creating them, but then keeping on plan, which has been awesome. And seeing her also grow in different ways as like a leader and even public speaking. That's something that I wasn't doing a lot of public speaking before QCA, and now both her and I always lead the welcome speech, the announcements after, and all these different things that we speak in, which has been really cool. But that's where we met. And also where we met. Now that I think about it, I met both of you guys because of QC Athletes, so it's put me in front of a lot of really cool people doing really cool things. And I always said, if I can make this a warm and welcoming community where anyone can come in, there's no ego, but your mentality is all out. Like, let's get a tough workout. It will attract the right people that we want. But then, two, now that it grew to the level that it's at in terms of number of people that come, anyone that's in it, I want to highlight them because they are the community, and that's the whole point of that. And then Chris and I, that's what started this. We were like, we keep meeting these business owners, entrepreneurs, people doing really cool professional work, and they're local. Instead of like the Instagram celeb where everyone knows this influencer, there's people who deserve to be highlighted. Why not highlight them? And know what? Maybe there's other podcasts, and I'm sure there is, or other outlets that people are sharing it, but we're currently in a space where we can. Why would we not?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the fitness industry in Charlotte is very like small world kind of thing. All, like when I came to QC Athletes, like probably like 10, 15 people that I knew there that I was like, oh, hey, haven't seen you in a while. How you been? Kind of thing. So it's a great community.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love QCA, man. I haven't been in a while, but
I got to get back out there.
We're gonna bring you back.
I know, soon.
June special, baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to pop out for June because I'm gonna do the video for June again.
All right, I can make it work. I might. When are you doing the Murph?
Murph is on the Monday. Was that the 26th, 27th, at 9 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah, Ryan Camp is gonna lead it with us again. He does 30 days of Murph. So he's
on day 3, right?
Yeah, he was just in the gym earlier today doing it.
Built different right there.
And he does it in like 32 minutes, 34 minutes. It's unreal.
And he does it for such a good place in his heart. And obviously everyone knows what the Murph's for, but like, I don't know if he knows people in the military that made him start doing that, or it was just he had such an appreciation.
That's cool.
You might know better because you've done a video with him about it, but then he continues every year to do it. So it's really cool. Awesome. But going back to Tipsy, we get through concept stage 1 year, doors open.
Yep.
Grand opening was, you said it was February of last year?
February 22nd, I think, of last year.
Okay,
Yep.
And that's 2025, right?
Yep.
I don't even know what year we're in.
It feels like it's been open so much longer.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So from that point to now, how's it been, journey-wise? What have you loved? What are things that you're like, man, that was just such a wild time. I'm glad we're through it.
It's been really good. I've learned a lot. It's been a a growing thing for me from a leadership standpoint. Hospitality is different, man. You're managing a different type of personality, particularly from the tech world and sales and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been not that it's been a challenge, because I have the right people around me that have, I mean, it's definitely been challenging at times, but it's been a fun, like I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot about myself, about what I want, about how to grow different types of businesses, and how to manage different types of people, and how to manage different types of personalities. What incentivizes certain people and what incentivizes other people. How do you reprimand certain people? How do you reprimand other people? So I think that's been the biggest challenge for me and the biggest kind of thing that I've grown. But business-wise, it's been awesome, man. We get to host people's celebrations and business events and birthdays, and just be a place that everyone can gather for fun. And that's just fun to watch. Like, we just really enjoy watching other people experience the brand that we've built, the atmosphere that we've built, and have a great time. So it's been very rewarding. It's much more rewarding than anything I've ever done.
Love that. What's your favorite thing that you've now acquired, either as a personality trait, a skill, something that you realized from this journey, specifically Tipsy Pickle?
That's a great question. One of the frameworks that I've been working on lately that has kind of come from frustrations and things, and I'm a very impatient person. The way my wife put it the other day was spot on. She said, "You are obsessed with progress," which is it's a skill, but it's a double-edged sword, right? There's pros and cons to that. And so one of the frameworks that I've been working through over the last year is being impatient with actions, but patient with results, right? So I don't want to lose the impatience of being something needs to get done, I'm going to do it. If something needs to be unblocked for one of my staff members, I'm going to be the one that unblocks it. So I like having that kind of go-getter, that you are going to get something done when you say it gets done, because I'm very punctual in that sense. But I've had to do a much better job of letting the results take time and not rushing those as well. So the framework of remaining impatient with action, but having a sense of patience with the results to kind of show themselves, is something that has been my biggest learning that I need to work on, that I have been hopefully working on and improving on.
Yeah, I think that's
awesome.
such a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
I love delayed gratification. So that's always been my thing, where I'd rather spend now or do something now, knowing that 6 months to a year's time, or maybe even longer, that I'll finally see the returns. And I'm okay with that as long as the actions are the smart actions that I know are going to drive something upward.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before, but with the gym, at one point it was like, we're growing, break-even point, kind of stayed around break-even for like 3 to 4 months, and then all of a sudden 10K profit, and out of nowhere. And I was like, what happened? But then I looked at all the actions we did, everything that was going on. There's a couple things that we did within budgeting that changed why we weren't profiting at a certain time. And then when January of this year rolled around, actually December, but January, it was just like a boom.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is super cool, and been able to sustain since. And now it's like, how do we continue building that momentum, but knowing that it doesn't have to be immediate results?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to keep your head down and keep in the grind when you don't see it. So this isn't, I don't think I've ever said this publicly. All our staff knows this, and a lot of my closest friends know this. So Mike and I, the way we structured Tipsy Pickle, we don't get paid. So we haven't gotten paid a penny, and we won't get paid a penny until all of the investors that we brought on board get paid back. So we raised several $1 million for the project, almost all locally. So we raised from like 60 something people, all locally, small checks, wanted to get people involved, right? So like, I'm 32. I have a lot of friends that are my age that have somewhat disposable income, but didn't really know what to do with it. And I had, again, super lucky with some of the connections I've made. I've been able to invest in certain companies, and I'm in some of the rooms that I used to wish I would be in. And so I wanted to kind of give that to some people that I knew that were our age throughout Charlotte, that wanted to do something with their money that I felt like was a good place to put their money. And so we opened that up. So we raised a few $1 million, almost all local. But Mike and I, we don't have a salary. We don't get paid any distributions until all of that money is paid back. So right now it looks like from the night that we had that bottle of bourbon until the first penny we make is going to be anywhere from like 4 to 6 years. So people are always like, oh, Tipsy Pickle's going so well. Like, I'm so happy for you. Like, I'm so happy too. And like our staff knows it, which I think is part of like, you talk about getting buy-in. Like they know that we're there every day with $0,
For the love of the
which
game.
I think carries some weight. Talk about delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Like this is the ultimate experiment of delayed gratification.
I think the best businesses are the ones run by people who appreciate the delayed gratification. You know, it's like what I did with QCA. It's like I donated my time for a year to come out and shoot photo and video. And I was like, this is a lot of time I'm putting in right now, but I know it's going to pay off in the future. And 2 years later, I'm like rocking and rolling. And it's like, you just have to trust the process and just like invest your time and go at it full force, right?
I'm waiting for you to quit your main job.
Dude,
so then you're
next
full
month, bro.
Force. Yeah.
Next month.
Yeah?
That's awesome.
Yeah, next
That'd
month.
be amazing.
Trust in the process is hard, man.
It's hard, dude.
So I would say here's the other, I'll parlay that into the other lesson is not only trusting the process, but enjoying the process, right? Like it's so easy. Again, the best advice is the advice you need to give yourself. This is one that I really need to give myself and do a better job of is it's really hard to not live your life in end game. Like just, I can only enjoy this when I get to this, right? And so for me, it's like, I'm really bad at that. Like, especially experiencing like some exits in the business world. Like you're like, oh, I'm going to work so hard for this moment. The moment lasts a day, 2 days, right? Like that trade-off is terrible. You're going to give years of your life of not enjoying it. So for me, the other thing is like, not only trusting the process, that delayed gratification, but like the process is the point. Like that's the whole point of this whole thing is the journey. And so my wife's way better than I am at this is like actually enjoying the everyday journey and like the struggles of it. Like, yeah, it's easy to enjoy when we go to Miami and have a blast on a boat, but like, can you enjoy when you're like in the weeds having those conversations? Right. That's the other thing for me that this has kind of opened my eyes up to something that I need to get better at.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of what we talked about on the first podcast is like, what does success look like? Right. And it's like with some businesses, like success is, a certain profit level or, with a creative, it could be, a certain project they want to work on. So it's like, what is your idea of success? Do you think that you're successful and what is your idea of that? That's
such a great question. And something that like, you probably need to ask yourself every couple years, right? Because it changes so much. I think for me, it's success ties back into that enjoying the journey thing, right? Like I can't tie my identity to those end goal successful moments because then it's not healthy. That's not a successful life.
And like if you're always making progress, like the finish line always moves, right?
100%. Any high achiever is never going to catch that kind of finish line.
Right.
That's a challenge. That's something that I need to work on for sure.
I feel like it just becomes a stepping stone. You know what I mean? And then you're gonna raise the ceiling. And
100%.
I have an idea of a number that I want to. I told Ali, I was like, I want to one day be able to say I made $1 million in a year. Like, but it's gonna take a long time for that. So it's like a far ceiling stepping stone. But if we ever do that, I'm gonna be like, all right, let's 10x it. Let's see what
100%.
happens.
You're gonna get there, and it's gonna change.
Yeah, but I do think like you said, the journey is so important. You hear it all over social media. So it's not like this is rocket science. This is not the first time that anyone's ever heard it. But really coming to terms with that is so important. I try to focus like the day-to-day of the business and then also personal, like being around the kids, being around my wife. Can we travel? Can we do fun things? Yeah. Can I also still be at work and love what I'm doing, enjoying the people, the staff and members, what I'm doing? It's a process to learn because when you're first in it, that skill you might not have because you only think about the outcomes.
Yeah.
And then eventually I think it takes like 6 months to a year, at least for myself, to really like buckle down, think about it, and really focus on what matters instead of trying to hit some marker, which I do think goals and markers are important. 100%. I don't want to take away from that because you need to know that you're progressing in a way that helps you scale or go in the direction that you're becoming more and more successful. But I do think that being in it and enjoying it is such a good marker for your success. Would you call yourself successful then?
Would I call myself successful? I would say I would call myself successful because I have now learned to enjoy the journey. So I think like, and I would credit my wife with a lot of that, is just like I'm doing a better job of not my identity to those figures, those number figures, those whatever it may be. And so I think that, like I live a pretty amazing life. Like when you take a step back and like look at yourself from a macro standpoint, which is hard to do, it's like, man, am I lucky that like I get to do what I do on a day to day with people that I really enjoy, and like that to me is successful. So the fatherhood piece is tricky, right? Like I don't have kids. We're in that conversation now. So let me ask you this, because I'm a firm believer that the person you marry is arguably the most important decision you make in your life, right? Like
I agree.
And I think I made a great one. I think you made a great one. Like I think we're all in great positions there. I also think that the person you marry has a direct impact on how successful you are in the kind of traditional sense of successful in terms of like business acumen, career, and all that. I think that like for me, I am way more successful because of who I married and because I'm in such a healthy relationship. So let me ask you this. Part of that, let me caveat with part of that is because I think it also helped meaning wise. Like it gives you more meaning when you're doing it for somebody other than just yourself. Did you feel that more with just you and your wife when you married her and you did something together, or did you feel that more when you're now doing it for kids?
The success part?
The meaning behind it.
That's a good question. I think it was when kids came that it's different. It's not that it's not a linear meaning it goes like this because of kids. It almost like branches in different ways that all the branches will still go upward. So I still find a lot of meaning of being successful and doing it with my wife is such a cool thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
Like I love that she can be involved. If she didn't want to be involved, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
I will definitely say that out loud. But it makes it more fun because we're doing it together. Similar to what you're doing with friends that are investors, how cool is it that you can bring in friends and show them how to make more money, become successful because of something you built? It's the coolest thing. So I do want to go back to that at some point. But coming back to, being with my wife and being in business together, it has been such a amazing journey. We've had new conversations that we never would have before. We've had disagreements. I don't want to call them arguments, but disagreements in certain ways. And it actually improved our communication significantly with each other and our relationship with each other.
Yeah, I bet.
But then because of kids, there's a whole different meaning. Now it's my whole mindset has shifted that I'm not doing it for myself anymore. There's a little essence of that, but I want to leave something that my kids can take over, or if we sell the business in the future, that they're taken care of. If we get into new projects, it's only going to better their future. It's the same thing my dad did. My dad came here with nothing. He moved from Mexico, came here, met my mom. They had kids at like 16 and 17. And then I came around 19, 20. Wow. They didn't go to college. They didn't have the same opportunities that they gave me. And my dad, to this day, will always say, I did whatever I could, the best I could to make sure that you guys were set up for a way better future. And he truly did. I got to go to college. I was the first one in my family to graduate college, which was such a big honor for myself, but my family was so proud of it. I'm the first business owner in my side of the family, outside of my grandpa, my mom's side, which he was very successful, but then there's other things that happen, family and all that. But anyways, it's really cool to see what my dad was able to do for us, and now I get to be in a position of can I do for my kids. And we would like to have another one. So when we have, I think we'll stop at 3, but when we have 3 kids, like what is that going to look like? What are they going to do? Are they going to have involvement in the business? If not, that's okay.
Yeah.
But at least they'll be in a position that, or I want to set them in a position that was even more elevated than what opportunities I had. And I still am so happy at everything that I had as a kid, because it got me to here. And to your point, I love my life. Like my life is amazing. I have a beautiful and very loving wife. I have 2 beautiful and healthy kids. We own our own business. We can do whatever we want. That to me is success.
Yeah, that's big.
Now, obviously there's financial things that if you want to keep going and scale up more, that's awesome. But those are just milestones at that point. Yeah. And ceilings that you're just raising at that level. But anyways, going back, the investor side, I thought this was such a cool thing that I've never heard you say. Obviously, you guys have investors.
Yep.
How did you find all these people? I know that like some, and maybe all of them, maybe a lot of them are friends. and then giving them the opportunity. Like, talk to me about that. That is such a
Yeah.
unique position to be in.
Yeah, it was a cool process. So between Mike and I would say about a third of them are friends of ours that we kind of brought in, that we wanted to have like a piece of the pie, right? And then we brought in a minority partner who does fundraising, who we actually got introduced, friend of a friend, through our marketing agency. They were just like, you guys would kind of hit it off. And we did. And he values, mission, everything kind of aligned, and so we felt like bringing him on as a minority partner made sense, and he's been great. He's been instrumental in a lot of it, and then he went out and raised the rest of it. So it was pretty cool because Mike and I, it was just the two of us doing the pitches at first, and then we were like somewhat involved in some of his conversations, but he kind of took that and ran with it.
That's really cool.
And you said most of the investors are Charlotte-based, right?
Almost all of them.
Was that important for you guys?
Very much so,
Yeah.
yeah. And so as we open new locations in new cities, we're going to give the existing investors first right of refusal at a part of the next investment, but then we want to raise locally in each city that we go to, because I think it matters.
Yeah, I think it makes it makes the city care.
Yeah,
right?
100%. And like I talked earlier, we do a lot of private events where like people bring their companies. So if you have 60, 70 investors that are local, that's where they're going to be bringing their companies, and that's where they're going to be telling their friends to. And so that kind of a guerrilla marketing tactic, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's genius.
Yeah, it's so unique, and I personally love it because of my, I don't want to call him an idol, but someone that I would look up to is Adam Sandler. I think he's the most humble dude, but all his movies, he brought his friends up, and they just kept doing movies together, and they got famous together.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Adam was the spearhead of all of it, but how cool would that be if you and your friends all became super successful together because of something that you allowed them to partake in? Whether you're the person that gets them to the top end and you're the Adam Sandler, or you're just someone that's riding with and be a supporter, but still doing unique things to still benefit, help, and do that kind of, be that person. You know what I mean?
And not just the other thing, so not just the investor side, because we set aside a small portion of equity for our key employees as well. So it's that same thing of like, nothing would make me more proud than our key employees they care, they're bought in, like for them to experience like the upside of things going really well. So we've given equity to some of those employees as well, because it's the same thing, right? Like you want them to be bought in, and then you want them to experience the win if everybody wins.
Yeah. Now, you kind of touched on it, so you can share as much or as little detail on this. If you're to open in other cities, you would want local investors as well having a chance. What are the future plans for
So Tipsy Pickle Charlotte is the first most important one, and we're still kind of getting that right, but we finally feel like we're in a place where we have operations running smoothly. We've got the right people in the right places. So the goal is that next year we'll open one in Greenville, South Carolina, and one in Raleigh, North Carolina. So we are in very extensive talks with some groups there. It's just finding the right buildings, man. We need such specific specifications of a building that that's the biggest challenge we face. So we think we've got some good options. So hopefully we'll have more to share soon.
I know you guys are very hands-on. You guys are you guys are there all the time. So how scary is it to open up 2 locations that aren't close to home and kind of like hand the keys over to someone else?
And then if we do go, like what happens to the existing one, right? We're having all those conversations right now. You have to have people you trust. You have to let them prove that they can fail at things and bounce back. And then you have to trust that they're going to do the right thing when you're not there. So our whole focus for 2025 is building systems in Charlotte that we've already built some. It's more about fine tuning some and building others that are scalable, repeatable. No matter who we hire in the new city, we can just hand them this playbook and say, we'll walk with you for the first month, and then it's all you because we've already built this out for you. So it's a lot of focus around that framework of like building the right processes. Yeah,
that's scary, man.
Yeah, I got to imagine with 2 in 2 different cities, the conversations you're having with Mike, with your wife, with the team.
Potentially
I
kids.
Hope, yeah. I know you're going to do great things. So, and potential kids.
Yeah. That's why like I plan on picking your brain quite a lot as the kid conversations, because I think you and Allie have done it. What looks to the outside world is very easy. I'm sure it's not. I can imagine there's a lot of challenges.
Yeah, it seems like y'all got it nailed.
The way it looks externally is just very impressive. So
Thank you.
I'm sure there's struggles, but
I will credit probably 99% of it's Allie. She is an amazing not only partner but mother, and the kids, she has them on the right schedules. We do really well with complimenting each other, but she is just an outstanding person. And going back to the person you marry is the most important partnership. I am so fortunate and lucky to have met her when I did, at the timing too, because timing's everything. If I met her when she was nowhere near the dating scene because she was taken by someone, you miss an opportunity. You know
There's
what I mean?
a lot of luck in that stuff.
A lot of luck. You mentioned that a lot in the beginning. You've been in a lot of lucky rooms with a lucky people. I think it's also you being the type of person you are, very easy to talk to, very kind, very helpful, but also a driven person. You put yourself in these rooms for luck to happen. It doesn't just happen. I mean, unless you're gambling, which again, you still have to go and gamble, but like that's just like random luck. You have put yourself in clearly positions that has gotten you to where you are today. If you were going to give advice to anyone that wanted to open their own business or go into their own entrepreneurial journey, whatever that is, what's first thing that comes to mind?
The first thing that comes to mind is the just take action, right? The whole impatient with actions thing, because I think both of you said it, is we've all had ideas, right? Like every idea has been had by somebody at this point in the world. It's just about who does it and who takes actions. And the two most important things are what path you're going to go on and who you're going to go on it with. And so I have got really lucky that I've been around the right people at the right times, but you do have to put yourself out there, right? Like you have to attend events that you don't always want to attend to. You have to go meet new people at events like QCA. Like you just have to get out of your bubble. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable for a period of time, usually in your mid to early 20s, where your job is to go meet as many people as you can, because you never know who's going to be that person that brings you into their project or you want to start a business with. And so my advice would just be get comfortable being uncomfortable, meet as many people as you can, and do not hesitate to take action. You are much better off failing 3 times than waiting to try something, because you'll learn so much by failing 3 times. Like I've failed on a lot of things. Luckily, nothing that has been kind of like detrimental in a financial way or any other way, but there's a lot of things you learn when you fail. And so being able to handle that well, right? You have to have a level of emotional maturity to be able to handle failing. But yeah, that's the biggest thing is don't hesitate to take action.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah, I also
Such
think
good advice.
I think with that take action, sometimes for some people can't get out of their way with this one. I think you two will agree with this, and you clearly have done it. Sometimes taking action is doing free work for a little bit,
100%.
or not
100%.
taking a paycheck,
100%.
whatever that is, because again, that delayed gratification, it leaps and bounds you in so many ways, whether it's your own personal business or the connections you make in the journey to allow you to receive more business.
Yep.
I don't know why people don't do that as often. I get that everyone's time is very valuable and it's worth something, but you also need to realize when something is a move for your future rather than immediate.
Yeah,
That's
it's hard. It's hard
my
to do.
thought.
It's even harder nowadays with social media, right? Because like comparison is the thief of joy. And so if you're out there and you're seeing someone's highlight reel every day, comparing that to your average Tuesday, right? Like that's not a fair comparison, right? And then I think that steers people in the wrong direction. Like there's so many stories of famous entrepreneurs that have been like approached a Bill Gates or an Alex Hormozy and said, I'll pay you to work for you. Like I'll intern for free. Just let me be in the room and soak up some of this, right? Like that. I feel like that's fading with some of these later generations because of what they're seeing on social media and that whole comparison thing. So that is something that I think, like, I'm a big believer in, like, Scott Galloway's framework for the problems with young men these days and like the lack of relationships that are created and things. And so I think that's a great point of like being willing to put yourself in those situations when there's no immediate pay, gratification, whatever it is, for the long term. Hey, I'm just getting in the room.
Yeah, I think a common theme in this whole podcast is connections are everything.
It really is.
And whatever you have to do to make those is so important. I mean, as long as they're not illegal things.
Yeah.
But, you know,
yeah.
stuff like that.
I like what
Fine
you
line.
said about the failure thing, man. It's like, I think that biggest thing for me is like, you know, in the content creation space, social media is like, I take in a ton of content, right? Because it inspires me. I learn from it. I try new things. I copy people and make it my own. But it's like taking failure and not viewing it as a bad thing, but taking it as a lesson, right? It's like, just be afraid to mess up and be afraid. And like, you know, it's okay that things don't pop off right now.
100%.
You know, It's like you learn from, shooting QCA for a year for free or whatever it may be. It's like I took all that time as it's not income, but it is, I'm investing my time into like learning a skill, meeting people, this and that, and it will pay dividends in the future, right? So it's like, yeah, failure is not a bad thing.
Yeah, but you got to, like, you are humble enough to realize that, right?
Right.
I think that's the challenge. Is like you have to have like the ability to eat humble pie early in your career to be able to say like,
Yeah.
I'm not above doing this for free. Like this is going to be way more valuable in the long run than if I tried to get them to pay me $10 an hour. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's like you have to swallow your ego, man. It's like I was like making a bunch of really cool photos and really like a lot of cool stuff, but like not getting paid for it, just making it on my own. It's like I would ask, I would pitch a job for this or that. I had no body of work for what I was pitching, right? So like whenever someone would say no to a budget or this or that, I was like, what the heck? I'm worth more than that. And sooner or later, I was like, they don't know that. It's like you have to prove it. You have to prove it. You have to just like swallow your pride and work, grind, and just keep going. And sooner or later, it will pay off. And for me, it did.
Eat a little bit of that humble pie.
Dude, I've been eating a lot of it, dude, over the years.
That's
you
such
got
a funny
to, man.
phrase.
Especially early in a career.
Yeah.
Like, that's the name of the game.
Yeah, for sure. I love that.
Before we close, do you have any fun, exciting passion projects, things that you're excited about, like something that's coming aside of the future of Tipsy Pickle? Could be small, could be a vacation.
Yeah, my wife and I, it's interesting. We're very frugal. Like, we don't spend money on a day-to-day, but then we really like going out and traveling. So, like, when we went to Miami, for example, we're all together. Like, I think money is to be made to do experiences like that with people you care about, right? So, like, when we go to Europe, for example, like, if we go out for a coffee in Charlotte, like, she'll tell you, I'll look at the prices on the menu. And, like, I don't need to, but I do, right? That's just been instilled in me. I have frugal parents. They're both teachers. When we travel, she gets the best version of me because I'm just able to kind of relax. And that's where we spend our money, is on travel and things and other people. And so I'm looking forward to doing a better job of when I am in Charlotte working on Tipsy Pickle, enjoying the process better. And then we have some really fun, we're going to Europe for a few weeks. We're going to have some fun travel coming up.
Where are you going in Europe?
We've got a friend's wedding is on a beach town north of Barcelona.
Okay.
And so we're going to make a whole trip out of it.
Sick.
We're going to do Montenegro, Croatia. We're going to do some other parts in Spain.
Sick.
We're going to do London. We might do Paris.
I just got back from Paris.
I've never been to Paris.
Dude.
I lived in Europe. So, like, once you're over there, you can go everywhere.
Yeah.
So when I played ball over there, every weekend we'd just, like, bounce around.
Dude, Paris is Paris like top 3 cities I've ever been to.
Okay.
That's so much fun.
I've heard mixed reviews. So
Okay.
I'm on the other side.
I've heard everyone say it's terrible, and then I've had some people say it's, like, the best thing ever.
I love the city.
The city was awesome.
I felt like the people just did not
French
like me.
people don't
at all.
love America.
Oh, it felt like New York to me, to
Interesting.
be honest. It's like everyone's just like in their lane,
Yeah.
focusing on them, and then you don't speak the language. It's like you just feel out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
But like I'm very good about being like, okay, I'm in a new culture. I'm the stranger
Yeah,
here.
immerse
I'm not
yourself.
going to understand everything.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't get rubbed the wrong way whenever I experience a new culture, and it doesn't make sense with what I'm used to.
Yeah.
I just take it as, okay, this is how it is here,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's really
It's a good
important to
approach,
do.
yeah.
I think it's really important to do when you like in France. Like I heard the same thing. I heard people say like the people were rude or this or that, and I had a great time. Everyone that I met was, they're very direct and they're very in their lane, but like they're not there to like baby you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like
just how
so
they
it's just
live,
how they
yeah.
live.
Yeah.
And I mean the whole city was like a museum. I mean everywhere we went was awesome. It was really easy to get around. The food was amazing.
Yeah.
So and everyone just like walking around with baguettes. It was really cool.
Love a good
Yeah, it was sick,
Little
dude. It was
croissant
really
or
cool.
two.
Yeah. When I was there, Allie and I were traveling the world for a moment. So we were coming from different cities and countries. We did like a 2-month trip around the world.
Damn,
It was
that's
so
the
fun.
dream right there. Pre-kids, I would assume.
Yeah, it was when we packed our bags, left Chicago, put everything in storage here, waiting for an apartment to open up.
Yeah.
So we're like, what else do we do? Let's just go travel.
That's so cool.
Yeah, which was so fun. It was such an amazing opportunity. We're so fortunate that we could do that. But in that time, and I forget if it was in France, I believe there was one moment in France, I kept getting called Andrew Tate. And Allie was not
That's
having it.
funny.
And that was the height of
Oh,
Andrew
no.
Tate.
That's funny.
And I'm like, I wear aviators. Just as tall as him. I think he's what, 6'2", 6'3". I'm like a soft 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah.
So yeah,
Soft.
something like that. Yeah.
Soft
And so I would be walking around, and he'd be like, "Oh my God, are you Andrew Tate?" And I wouldn't say it. I would just be like, "Hmm." And then I just walk off and just leave it to like.
That's fun.
Yeah, and Allie, at the third time that it happened, I think we were in, I don't know, Florence at the time. She was like, if one more person calls you Andrew Tate, I'm divorcing you now. That's like a
funny.
year after our wedding.
So funny.
That is good.
But yeah, we really appreciate you
Yeah,
coming on this
this has
podcast.
been
awesome.
fun. This has been a lot.
It
of
was
fun.
great to hear the
That was
story
great.
of Tipsy Pickle.
Yeah.
I can't wait for people to come stop
I love
by.
that it was a drunk idea.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That's such a
Truly
fun-
was a drunk idea.
What?
Yeah.
I have one more question for you. I meant to ask this earlier, but you said that you were like getting into pickleball at the time. What made you guys choose pickleball and nothing else?
So I like to this day I don't play a ton of pickleball.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't then. I had kind of seen it socially. I actually went to one of the parks, like Freedom Park or MLK Park, with some friends, and I was kind of seeing this like social phenomenon happen of pickleball and people playing it, but it was really like recreational social. So like went to the park and people pulled out like a mimosa bar on a Saturday morning. And like they were there to play pickleball, but they were there to hang out with their
Dude,
friends.
the light bulb.
And
just-
so yeah, that kind of it kind of flipped for me, and I was like, oh, interesting. And I saw a stat that Topgolf released that only 40% of people that enter a Topgolf swing a golf club when they're there. 60% don't even touch a club. They're there for a business event or just a hangout or a birthday. And so I kind of thought that pickleball could take a piece of that in the way that you don't have to be good at it. You don't have to have ever played. You can just watch your friends. You don't even have to play.
Mm-hmm.
And like food and beverage is where you make your money in the hospitality space. So I thought it was kind of a good anchor for a food and beverage concept. So
Okay.
it just kind of lended itself well. And
Yeah, no, it's
it
genius.
fit the average Joe's
Yeah.
kind of fun, don't take yourself too serious vibe.
like you said, you built the perfect adult playground. So
That was the goal.
Yeah.
say,
I've been iced so many times.
It's the fun
dude,
one.
I've got-
Smearing
It's
off ice.
such a fun thing that you guys do and brought back.
I've only
talking
gotten,
about
I've only gotten it
nostalgia piece.
twice.
Nostalgic, man.
You actually gifted me
I
one
did,
while you were
from
out of
afar.
town. Yeah, you was in like
Remote
Asheville.
ice, yeah.
I was like, oh my god, and I was
Remote
by
ice.
myself. I had a videotape it just to prove that I did it.
That's
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah, it was so fun. But
Dope.
yeah,
Thanks,
thank you.
dude.
Yeah,
Thank you so
this has
much.
been
It's
fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man.